أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وابتلوا اليتامى حتى إذا بلغوا النكاح فإن آنستم منهم رشدا فادفعوا إليهم أموالهم ولا تأكلوها إسرافا وبدارا أن يكبروا ومن كان غنيا فليستعفف ومن كان فقيرا فليأكل بالمعروف فإذا دفعتم إليهم أموالهم فأشهدوا عليهم وكفى بالله حسيبا. Dear friends, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I recited Surah An-Nisa Ayat number 6. So this ayat tells us about the rights and responsibilities of the properties and wealth of orphans. So the guardians, they are the people. Allah advised them that you have to protect the wealth and properties of the orphans carefully. You are not to use them unlawful way or to spend for unwanted things, and you are not to spend them quickly in a fear of this point that these orphans will become bigger. They grow bigger quickly and we have to return them, so we have to finish before time. So don't do it. Allah said that if you are rich people, then you just avoid to take anything from the properties, from the wealth of the orphans. But if you are poor people and you have no money to have your food, then you can take some part of that which will fulfill your need of food. So when you hand over your the properties and the wealth to the orphans, you must have witness, and that is very important. Be careful that if you will violate with the dealing with the orphans with respect to their properties and wealth, Allah knows everything. So accountability will be there at the day of judgment. So be careful. We read this one. Allah said, "Wabtalul yatama," and wabtalu mean you have to test, examine. Wabtalul yatama, you must have examination of the orphans, test of the orphans. What type of test? To keep the money. Have the ability to keep it, or they know the profit and loss, how to spend the money, how to spend the property, how to look after their property and their assets. So this way you have to look after them. Sometimes you can send them to buy your things needed in your house. They can go to buy from the shop, and they understand how to do the dealings, like transactions, like to give money to get the things, and they then from that you can understand, are they in a position to pay for those things which are not needed, or they are responsible, or they are doing everything nice way, and they understand that we are not to waste the money, and they are looking after it. So if they are doing some mistakes, slowly you can make them correct, and you can give them education and training in order to understand how to look after their wealth and property and how to make their future more better. So you need to give them education of that one also, that Allah wants. So this way Allah said, Wabtulul Yatama, and you have to judge, you have to test the orphans, Hatta Iza Balagun Nikah, until they reach at the age of Nikah. So at the age of marriage. So when the people, they are just for ready for marriage, like mostly at the age of 18 or age of after 15. So mostly 18 is normal now in the world. So when the children, they are at that stage, so you have to look after them and test them with the passage of time. If you find they have capability, Allah said, فَإِنْ آنَسْتُمْ minhum, and if you find minhum from them rushdan, that they have ability, fadfa'u, then you can hand over ilayhim, to them, amwalahum, their wealth. Then their wealth you have to hand over to them. Wala taquluha, and you are not allowed to eat israfan, their property, unwanted, for the unwanted things. You are not to spend for unwanted things, which are israf. You are not to spend for israf, not for the things which are not in need. Wabidaran, and you are not to spend for those things like which you want for quick spending. And yakbaru, then you can think that they will grow bigger and they will ask for their property and wealth. So we have to spend before time. Don't do it. Allah said, you have to look after them, look after their properties. وَمَنْ كَانَ غَنِيًّا فَلْيَسْتَعْفِفْ, Allah said, and from you, who is the guardian of the orphans, if that person is rich or that person has good earning to keep up his expenses of his house, then that person is not allowed to take anything from the property and wealth of the orphans. So this way he should abstain from it. Then Allah said, وَمَنْ كَانَ فَقِيرًا, and the person who is fakir, who is a needful person, فَلْيَأْكُلْ, then that person who is poor person, he is allowed to eat bil maruf, just according to the need. So he can take something from the property or from the wealth of the orphans in order to eat. So eatable, edible needs, so he can fulfill from there. Then Allah said, فَإِذَا دَفَاتُمْ, and when you are handing over ilayhim, to them, amwalahum, their wealth and properties. When you are handing over this one to the orphans, فَأَشْهِدُوا, then you have to make the witness. The people should be there who can give witness alayhim, for them, because that witness is very good, because it can save you from the future like disputes or problems. Then Allah said, وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ hasiba, and Allah is enough. Allah is sufficient for accountability, because if you are hiding something, but Allah is watching you, at the day of judgment you will be accountable. So be careful. This way Allah said. So we understand from this ayat, Allah said, وَابْتَلُوا الْيَتَامَى حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغُوا النِّكَاحَ فَإِنْ آنَسْتُمْ مِنْهُمْ رُشْدًا فَادْفَعُوا إِلَيْهِمْ أَمْوَالَهُمْ وَلَا تَأْكُلُوهَا إِسْرَافًا وَبِدَارًا أَنْ يَكْبَرُوا وَمَنْ كَانَ غَنِيًّا فَلْيَسْتَعْفِفْ وَمَنْ كَانَ فَقِيرًا فَلْيَأْكُلْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ فَإِذَا دَفَعْتُمْ إِلَيْهِمْ أَمْوَالَهُمْ فَأَشْهِدُوا عَلَيْهِمْ وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ حَسِيبًا. So Allah said, and continue testing orphans until they reach at the age of nikah, at the age of marriage. If you find in them tendency to hold and use their assets properly with your sound judgment, then deliver to them their wealth, and don't eat, don't use, because this is property and wealth of the orphans. Don't use, don't eat in extravagant way, and don't use quickly, that thinking in mind that they will grow to maturity soon, so we have to finish it. So don't do it. Just you have to look after that one, and you have to protect it completely and fully. And the person who is the guardian of them, if that person is rich, he must abstain to take something from their asset. And the person who is poor, he is allowed to eat, to consume according to the need fairly. And when you are handing over the properties and wealth to the orphans, then you must have witness on it. And Allah is sufficient for reckoning, for accountability. So that is very important, Allah said. So this way, the best thing is this in this ayat. First of all, what Allah said, وَابْتَلُوا الْيَتَامَى حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغُوا النِّكَاحَ. So when the children, they are just to reach at the age of 15, 16, 17, 18, so they must be judged. So you have to judge them with your experience that they have capability to keep their property in a good way. They can protect it. They can. They are not to waste it. So you have to look after. They must understand the loss and the profit, and how to spend the money, how to spend for good thing. So they must have good ideas. So you can give them education and training of this one also. So that is also important. So this way Allah said, فَإِنْ آنَسْتُم مِّنْهُمْ رَشْدًا فَادْفَعُوا إِلَيْهِمْ أَمْوَالَهُم. When you are just to find they are having the capability to hold their money, to hold their property, to hold their assets, then you have to hand over to them as quick as possible. Don't take a time, give them quickly to hand over them. So this is very important. Then Allah also said to us that look after the orphans if their mind is not good, like they are mentally weak, then you have to treat them, so medical treatment, and then look after them and give them training and education so that they can understand how to use the assets like their property and wealth. So when you will feel that they are in a position to understand, then you have to hand over their property and asset to them so that they can make their future more bright, inshallah. Here Allah also said in this ayat that وَلَا تَأْكُلُوهَا إِسْرَافًا, and you are not allowed. So this is the Allah's command to the guardians of the orphans, that they are not allowed to spend the money or the property or the wealth of the orphans in those things which are not needed. So they are not allowed to do it. Then Allah said, وَبِدَارًا أَن يَكْبَرُوا. Bidaran mean, like when someone is to spend as quick as possible just having in mind idea that these orphans will grow to their maturity soon and they will ask for their assets, so we have to spend before time. So some people they try like this. So Allah said you are not allowed to do this. Bidaran an yakbaru. So you are not to do this one because if Allah said wala taquluha israfan wa bidaran an yakbaru. So you are not allowed to spend their property or wealth quickly, like you will think that they will grow bigger quickly and they will ask about this. You are not to do this. Then Allah also said in this ayat very important message we got. وَمَنْ كَانَ غَنِيًّا فَلْيَسْتَعْفِفْ. If the guardian of the orphans, if that person is rich, that person can keep on going his expenses of his house and mashallah very good way, then that person is not allowed to take anything from the property or the assets of the orphans. So here he or she is not allowed to take anything from them because he is a rich person, everything he has, so why he is taking that one? So only if he need in business he can take that some wealth or money just as a loan, but he has to return it back. So that is very important also. So this is then Allah said for those people who are poor people, who are guardian of the orphans, but they have no food, no money to for their food even also. This way Allah said, وَمَنْ كَانَ فَقِيرًا فَلْيَأْكُلْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. If the person who is fakir, who is like a needy person, so he has no money to spend for his food also, then فَلْيَأْكُلْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, then he can eat according to the need. So that is very important also. Allowed. According to the need that person can use. فَإِذَا دَفَعْتُمْ إِلَيْهِمْ أَمْوَالَهُمْ. Allah said when you are just to return the property, assets and the wealth to the orphans, when you are handing over to them, فَأَشْهِدُوا عَلَيْهِمْ, then you have to make the witness. Is very important. وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ حَسِيبًا. If you are hiding something, then Allah is watching. At the day of judgment you will be accountable. So this is very important, we must understand. Here is one important point, that if the orphan is like orphan dad was a rich person, he left factories and mills and maybe some type of agriculture fields. So if there is so many things are belonging of the orphans, then if the guardian has to look after that, he whole day of the person is, or whole time of the person is finishing to look after the assets of the orphans, then the person can get the wage also. So wage is allowed then. So Allah, the Prophet ﷺ, he said in one hadith that you have to save yourself from seven sinful acts which are very, very alarming. So first one, the Prophet ﷺ said you are not to make partnership with Allah. The second sinful act, which is the greatest sinful act, that is to do the magic, black magic. So that is. Third sinful act, which is the biggest sinful act, is to kill someone without any genuine need, like without a Sharia, because you are not, no one is allowed to kill any person. The fourth thing is to eat the interest. Fifth thing is to eat the assets, wealth of the orphans, because orphans are very important. If you are eating the wealth of them, then this will be the biggest sinful act. And the sixth biggest sinful act is told by Prophet ﷺ is to run away from the battlefield. The seventh sinful act is to blame the women who are innocent. So this is very important. So be careful. And even Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he also said that the orphans at the day of judgment, the person who was looking after the orphans, so that person and me will be like two fingers are together. So that person will be with me. So the orphans are, so much favorite people before Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he started his life as an orphan. So this way he likes and loves the people who are looking after orphan people. At the day of judgment, Holy Prophet ﷺ will be helping those people also who were looking after the orphans, just with their properties, with their wealth, with their akhlaq, with their kindness and their treatment, manners and behavior with the orphan was so much nice. That person will get the company of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to enter into the paradise. So Allah gave us tawfiq to get the company of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to do these type of things which are needed according to Islam, so that we can get the success in this world and the world hereafter. Allah give us tawfiq. Ameen.